Okay, got the video. We don't have excuses. We don't have some ramble about how we're low energy. So pardon my language. We're just gonna basically admit that we suck at this point, if that's the case. And if I suck, that's okay because everyone who is not sucking sucked before they didn't suck. But for those of you who know the difference between busy work and productive work, this video is not for you. And if that piques your interest to hear what kind of philosophical, ignorant shit am I about to spout today, feel free to stay. But I'm just one of those people that I feel like a good portion of my life I understood the difference between busy work and productive work, but I was never like told about it, so it's just kind of floated around in my head. And there was a lot of times where I thought I got stuff done or I was productive, when in reality is all I did was distract myself and put a lot of effort and time into stuff that is relatively meaningless, you know, especially as someone who was responsible for an entire household for, you know, since I was 5 years old. I had to cook, I had to clean, I had to change diapers, all that stuff. So that, at least in my psyche or in my brain, was me being productive. So busy work, what is busy work? Busy work is kind of what I just talked about. It's work that you can do that seems like you're being productive or getting things done, but the reality is you're not. Productive work is, I guess to put it the lightest, what is it that you can accomplish right now? Well, I mean, that's your most important task, or what do you prioritize? But productive work is stuff that moves the needle, you know, gets you closer to your goals, right? So things that aren't productive work: doing dishes, cleaning your room, mowing the lawn, things like that. Now, I guess you could frame it as productive work if your goals are to clean the house, and you know that gives you it helps you with your mental health and keeps you from fighting with your roommates or your partner or whatever. But that stuff is not really a priority if you work a 9 to 5, you're a parent, you're trying to get your health together, maybe study, build a business, things like that. Sometimes you need to decide when you do busy work, decide when you do productive work. And if you find yourself at the end of the day deflated, too tired, lack of focus, things like that, maybe you should reorganize at least when you do it, or if you do it at all. So for the productive work, maybe you want to just move it to, like I like to do, right when you get up, you know? And as Alex Hormozy says, you know, we've all seen those videos where you're like, you need to wake up at 2 in the morning and run a couple of miles and then eat a perfect amount of food, get in the ice bath, meditate, get grounded, be grateful, call someone and tell them you love them, kick your donkey, tell your kitty it's a good kitty, all that stuff. And then it's, by the time you do that, it's like 10 a.m. and you just spent 7 to 8 hours not really moving forward with your day. Now, of course, at this point you're clear, you have focus, you are energized, things like that. But when you're trying to really accomplish big goals, maybe it's best to prioritize productive work, or, well, actually, let's say it this way. Bend your life around your productive work rather than your productive work around your life, if it so allows it. And I don't even like to say that last part, if it so allows it, because then it leaves us the room to say, oh, well, my wife this, or my husband that, or the kids this, or the dishes that. If you make it non-negotiable that every single day you at least spend 5 to 30 minutes and hopefully an hour to 2 hours on your task, imagine how much better you get at the end of the year. I'm not the best at math, but I mean, okay, so if you do it for an hour a day times 7, I mean, you could get 365 hours a year, and then what's 365 divided by 24? I'm not sure, one sec. What's 365 divided by 24? So you could get 15 days worth of extra productive work. Just saying. And before I kind of went off on a little bit of a irrelevant spiral, what I was trying to say is maybe it's best for you to just get up out of bed and immediately get to work. Yes, you'll be foggy, you'll be tired, maybe you won't produce your best work, but in that process, you'll wake up. You get the juices flowing. You know, you're breathing. You know, maybe do some push-ups, some sit-ups, get moving around, things like that. And that way, you don't let the trials and tribulations of the rest of your day and the very real reality that most of us have that tries to pull us in 37 different directions. You got to take away that power. And for those of you who have watched the past videos, around this time I'd usually grab my phone off the thing, but I do have I have a RAM arm mount that suction cups to the windshield, and then I have that attached to the Peak Design phone mount that has the B-ball, and then I grabbed the Peak Design phone case for my phone, and I can just set it and forget it, because it should have fell off like 10 times already. So if you're wondering how I went from it falling off randomly or me always freaking out about it, that's why. Love this thing, not returning it. I always love Peak Design. Maybe I'll show you guys my my kit here soon. But obviously, I'm not Alex Hormozi, I'm not Jordan Peterson, I'm not Steve Bartlett from Diary of a CEO or Chris Williamson. But it can be really easy to feel like not only are you on a mission, but you're accomplishing stuff if you put all that busy work in the way. And you know, there's going to be different opinions as far as like how valuable being mindful or meditating is, or the grounding or the deep breaths, the gratitude. That all is helpful, but you can't let it get in the way of you actually doing the thing. So the thing needs to be accomplished, and if you can make sure you accomplish the thing, then sure, meditate, be grateful, take deep breaths, get that blood flowing, you know, do all that stuff. But if you're anything like me, who luckily I wouldn't say I listened, but you know, luckily have not been put to bear a child yet, because I'm not ready for that yet, but put to bear a child yet, and I haven't started a family and all those things that can get in the way of that. But I was somebody who has worked between 70 and 90 hours a week for months and months and months at a time, non-negotiably, while working out, while eating great food, while maintaining a relationship, and while maintaining time with my friends. Now, what does that mean? I was tired, people got upset with me, and there's things in my life that I just completely let go. You know? Like, to say the least, there's a couple that come to mind, but I don't want to like self-incriminate here. Not that I did anything bad, it's just there's certain things that I should have done that maybe, that I did not. But what that looked like was, it wasn't me just balancing things better, it was me picking 2 or 3 things that I really needed to happen, and then everything else had to go. So I'm not talking, for the parents out there who are like, oh, of course, your life is yours, and you don't have a kid, and all that other stuff. I will cover this more and more as, you know, this channel develops and changes. But I had my life taken from me. And and I don't want to get all depressive, but like I had most of my lower life taken from me for other people's selfish needs, because I just wasn't born with great parents. And what that did is that made it to where I did basically have a child. It wasn't my child, but I had to feed it, I had to put it to bed, I had to make sure it did its homework. I did that for almost a decade. So that's why I am where I am. So I can like really take I have a glance of what that looks like and what it takes and the sacrifices you have to make. But so when I'm saying this, I'm talking to parents, I'm talking to single people, I'm talking to young people, I'm talking to old people. It's really about trying to move as much of the crap out of the way. Try to keep your emotions in check and just do the thing. I think I said this in one of my first vlogs, but like Chris Williamson said, thinking about doing the thing is not doing the thing. Planning on doing the thing is not doing the thing. Saying that you're going to do the thing is not doing the thing. Planning on saying and thinking about doing the thing is you not doing the thing. Nothing is doing the thing except for you doing the thing. And what is the thing? The thing is what you decide it is. Whether or not that is you wanting to build a business, you wanting to build a side business, or spend more time with your family, or be a better parent, or be a better spouse. Whatever it is, all that preparation and planning and all that stuff is only helpful for 5 minutes, and everything else after that is just getting in the way. So that's why they have these different things where they say, what is it, 20% learning, 10% planning, and then 70% execution. I believe the numbers are off, but that is something I've adopted. As someone who, you guys see this, all you see is a tanker truck driver who, at least for the last couple videos, it's kind of jarring to me. I'm kind of getting a reality check. It's like I'm not able to formulate the sentences in the way that I want to, and I'm not able to, deliver information in the way I want to, but that's okay. So if I'm able to do those things, you can too, as long as you have your health, and that's it. You don't need anything else. I have every excuse to be a piece of shit, a liar, a thief, a manipulator, lazy, this and that, because the people who went through my circumstances almost either always are or are mediocre people, and that's just not the path that I want to go down. Now, that may end up happening because some people just don't have it, but that's okay. That's okay. I do not let my ego get involved when it comes to this stuff. It's just about getting up every single day, doing what I say I'm going to do for myself and for other people, and doing the best I can with the time, resources, and brain capacity that I have. And sometimes that means you might fall short of what you have in your head, or like the other people that you can prepare yourself to. And that's a whole other complex interwebbing of talking about mindset and being reasonable but also not being reasonable, and that's all stuff for another day when I get better at this and maybe I get a little bit more trust from you guys. So I did kind of tangent, but busy work feels good because you have a mission, you can shut your brain off, you can get it done, you can spend as many hours as you want doing it, and at the end of the day, you can think to yourself, wow, I really killed it today. But then when you look at the things that matter to you, whether or not that's your relationships, your bank account, your trust in your industry, your network, whatever meaningful metrics or things you guys have in your life, you realize that not only have those things not gone up at all, but they've either stayed the same or most of the time went down for every day that you're not doing it. So there is my thoughts on that. I hope that you guys are not taking fat L's with everything going on in the economy right now, because I know that everybody I know, including myself, is definitely letting that happen. But just a little snippet, because I do want to make I want to make many videos about mindset and the way that you think and rewrapping things. But if I were in my situation 4 or 5 months ago, I would be very upset. I would be stressed. sleeping in, not accomplishing what I want to accomplish, and just really depressed and feeling like I gotta shut myself off from the world. And that's based around, I guess, the money that I'm currently making, and well, yeah, no, it all comes down to like the money I'm making right now, because it's like a quarter of what I was before. I know I said I got a raise, but it's just like the hours are not available, because what I do is mainly based around the railroad, and you know, what goes in the railroad? The stuff that was on the boat. What happens to the stuff in the boat? Well, it costs way more to get it here because of tariffs. So that's my very dumbed down version of why I'm in the situation I'm in. But if I was in this situation a couple months ago, I would have been upset, I would have been reclusive, I would have been mad, and I decided to flip the mindset. I told myself over and over, like, I'd find different ways. It's like, hey, this is what I wanted. I didn't want to feel like there's as much pressure to give as much of myself as I was before, or the pressure to try to squeeze as much as possible into my like hour and a half I had off a day between shifts, if even. Most of the time, I literally would get up, I would run to the gym, or take a shower, or try to get laundry in, and then I'd immediately go to work, do a 12 to 14 hour shift, and like I can give. Look at that. We're coming up in the world while we get stared at this gas station for setting up our vlog setup here, but we got the light down there to the side, and we got the light up above. Look at that. We're fancy. But like I was saying at the end of or not at the end, but just now, was I do have receipts for this. It's not like I'm trying to show off or act like I'm better than anyone else. I've been in unique situations throughout the years that have basically allowed me to see different points of views, whether or not that's being a parent, or making sacrifices in everything in my life except for a couple things. And really it just comes down to two key concepts, right? That is, concept one being, it's not about what you do with your 9 to 5, it's about what you do with your 5 to 9. So how effectively you use your time in between work, even if it's just a couple hours, how effectively do you do that, and what you get done during that time. And a lot of us will use it to get busy work done rather than productive work. So it's not about what you do with your 9 to 5, it's about what you do with your 5 to 9. And again, we do not prioritize busy work over productive work around here, because what you'll do is you could be busy for the next 10 to 15 years doing busy work and find yourself in the exact same spot. And if you're okay with that, dope, because we all have different goals. But for those of us who are not okay with that, just get shit done. And also make sure that you keep your camera roll cleaned off, because I ran out of room pretty quickly, but it makes sense because I've been trying to film all these in 4K with 30 to 60 FPS. So that takes a massive amount of room. But that being said, if you think I'm getting better just over the last couple videos, definitely thumbs up. Comment on anything that you think I could do better, or if I just suck and I should quit now. Make sure to subscribe if you want to be able to at least occasionally see my videos pop up as they get more and more interesting, professional, and to the point. And definitely do not hit the bell, because I have not earned that from you guys yet, which we will say over and over until we're blue in the face, because I don't think I have the right to be able to interrupt you during the middle of your day. But when you do decide to hop on YouTube, it would be nice to at least have a fair chance to share with you what you need to know, okay? Or a little snippet of my life. All right, guys, peace.